I did ice baths every single day for 30 days straight.
But why would I put myself through this torture, you ask? Well, because if you watched the last video, you know that in 2023, I stopped training, I started slacking on my diet, and basically I became a giant trash bucket and allowed myself to become a complete fat ass.
Ask me what ice baths have to do with all this?
You guessed it.
Discipline.
Oh, and on top of that, mental toughness, improved mood, reduced stress levels, and improved metabolism, which for me can help give me that extra little push that I need to stop being a fat ass. Oh, and treats for chiro, increased dopamine levels. You begin to convert white fat cells into beige and brown fat cells. You reduce inflammation and you enhance performance if you do it correctly, which I'll explain all this later, but it's pretty much all positive. And just as a quick disclaimer, it's not just ice baths that are so beneficial. Cold showers are actually the second best thing. So now you can do this with me.
So my journey of 1,000 ice baths began.
I went into my backyard ready to do my ice bath until I remembered I don't have an ice tub. So before I could talk myself out of it, I drove to the nearest big boy toy store and started browsing around for an ice bath. Now, personally, I wanted to get the biggest tub that they had because as with anything in life, bigger is normally better. However, my girlfriend disagreed and she said that I should go with something smaller because that's more accurate for someone like me, which I'm still not really sure what she meant by that. However, I did end up going with the 100-gallon tub. Sorry, I'm just practicing. So within this video, I'm gonna try my best to get you to torture yourself too. I mean, I'm gonna try my best to explain the benefits of cold water immersion, whether it be ice baths or cold showers, and then I'm going to kindly allow you to come to your own conclusion. It's really funny because the sun is shining, the water looks warm. However, based on the ice chunks that are still floating around in here, trust me, it's not warm. Now, in my opinion, one reason that cold water immersion is so much better than a lot of these other life hacks is because of the time that it takes.
None.
Well, minimal. Oh, shit.
Don't worry, my girlfriend is definitely going to know that I moved this stuff around.
Babe, relax. It's for scientific purposes.
No, don't say relax. Never say relax.
Studies recommend that you spend 11 minutes doing cold water immersion per week, which I really didn't think was long enough. And obviously I'm smarter than all these research scientists who have been studying this for years, so
I did my ice baths for 3 minutes a day, 7 days a week,
which equals out to a total of 38 minutes.
I'm just kidding, 21 minutes. Not that stupid.
And this research recommended that you take that 11 minutes and you break that up into multiple sessions throughout the week. So 5 minutes one day, 6 minutes another day, or 4 minutes one day, 3 minutes another day, 3 minutes another day,
or 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 1 minute.
Okay, sorry. As long as you add up to 11 minutes a week, you will derive the benefits of cold water immersion.
I will have you know that Andrew Huberman, the Mac Daddy of all scientists, said that
he does cold water immersion for 11 to 15 minutes per week, and he recommended 11 minutes a week as a minimum requirement.
See, I told you I was smarter than all these researchers.
I did ice baths for 21 minutes a week, and look, nothing happened to me. So the first thing you're probably wondering is how cold the water is supposed to be, which research has shown benefits in temperatures as high as 68 degrees Fahrenheit and all temperatures lower than that, which is great for some people. You can actually start the water temperature really, really high and still see some good benefits. Although in this same study, they had 3 different groups of people test for the same amount of time in 3 different temperatures. And just as an example, the first group got into water that was 89 degrees Fahrenheit. That's obviously really warm, and they saw no increases in their metabolism. The group that was in 68 degree water saw a 93% increase in metabolism up to 2 hours later. And the third group got into 57 degree water and saw a 350% increase in metabolism, 250% increase in dopamine levels, and a 530% increase in norepinephrine. So all that I want you to understand with that is the colder the water, the better. Well, up to a certain point. Basically, just don't die and you'll be good. Now, I didn't have the luxury of having an ice bath where I could control the temperature, so basically, I just let Mother Nature decide my fate. She was really mean. And in most cases, the water was about 32 to 34 degrees Fahrenheit. And I will point this out. The colder the water, the less time that you will need to spend in the ice bath or the cold shower. The warmer the water, the more time that you'll need to spend to get those same benefits. So while the research doesn't give us an exact temperature to use, I would recommend starting in higher, warmer temperatures and then slowly getting colder and colder and colder as your body and mind get adapted to cold water immersion itself. Treat it like progressive overload in the gym. Start small and then slowly but surely work your way up. Now, I will give the caveat that this is not at all what I did. I dove right into the deep end, so to speak, and I started with 34 degrees Fahrenheit. But as I stated before, Mother Nature. However, since I'm just a mere donut-loving mortal who's trying to get his life back on track, let's ask the Mac Daddy of science himself.
If you are using deliberate cold exposure, the environment that you place yourself into should place your mind into a state of, whoa, I would really like to get out of this environment, but I can stay in safely.
So now we know that the amount of time that you should spend is a minimum of 11 minutes per week, 11 to 15 minutes per week if you're the Mac Daddy of science, and 21 minutes per week if you're a moron like me. The water should be as cold as you can tolerate safely. You want it to be cold enough that you feel uncomfortable and want to get out, but not so cold that you risk being unsafe. Treating it like progressive overload and starting in warmer temperatures and slowly getting colder and colder as you go is going to be a great thing to do. Now let's get into the benefits of cold water immersion, because I know what you're thinking. You're probably thinking, now Coach Nate, as much as I would love to dip myself into a bucket of ice, or as much as I'd love to take a cold shower instead of my hot, steamy, comfortable, privileged, lost all my motivation, soft ass shower, sorry, talking to the 2023 version of myself. As much as I'd love to do that, I need to hear the benefits first, because the benefits have to outweigh putting ice on my nuts for 2 to 3 minutes every single day. And speaking of ice on your nuts, would you believe that while researching this video, I came across a such thing as ice underwear? 2 nutsicle ice packs in every bag for your bag. Extra support to keep them high and tight. Peas are for eating, not for icing. Shit. The benefits of deliberate cold exposure include improved mental toughness, resilience, grittiness, and the ability to overcome challenges. Improved ability to regulate or control your mind under conditions of stress. Reduce stress and anxiety. Elevated mood for hours and hours after the cold water immersion is over, likely due to the 250 to 500% increase that you get in dopamine. Let me remind you that dopamine is the molecule of motivation, reward, and pursuit. So if you're wondering why you've been a fat turd lately, but you lay in bed at night for 4 hours watching TikTok, well, now we know why. Take an ice bath or a cold shower every morning and elevate your dopamine levels and stop watching TikTok, and I promise you'll feel much more motivated and inspired. Sharpens mental acuity and levels of alertness, increases your metabolism, converts white fat cells to beige and brown fat cells, reduces inflammation post-exercise and in general, and enhances your performance in the context of strength and endurance. Most of what you need for sports, you dweebs. So let's quickly go over these one by one. Improved mental toughness, resilience, grittiness, and the ability to overcome challenges. This one is very self-explanatory. If you willingly, deliberately, that's why it's called deliberate cold exposure, put yourself into these uncomfortable situations, aka the ice bath, you will train yourself to become more comfortable in these uncomfortable situations in life, and therefore become more resilient because of it. And obviously, ice baths or cold showers are hard, so by doing this day after day after day, you drastically improve your mental toughness and your ability to do hard things in general, which your mind doesn't care whether it's an ice bath or writing an essay or getting out of bed in the morning for your alarm. It just knows that it doesn't want to do that. So by training yourself to do what you don't want to do over and over and over, that is called discipline. You begin to train your mind to do these hard things and have discipline without hesitation. Benefit number 2 is the improved ability to control your mind under stress. Mac Daddy actually recommends that while in the cold water, you train your ability to problem solve by doing some sort of cognitive exercise while under stress. By controlling your mind under these conditions of stress, you therefore train your mind to better cope with the stressful situations that you're gonna see in your everyday life. Trust me, if you got a girlfriend or a wife, it's gonna go a long way. Now, when it comes to dopamine, here's what's so great about cold water immersion. Studies have shown increases up to 250 to 500%, which, let me remind you, dopamine is the molecule of motivation, reward, and pursuit. So you will feel more motivated, your mood will be elevated, and your pursuit of your goals will be greatly enhanced. And here's the kicker, this is without elevating cortisol levels at all. Oh, shit. So cortisol is the primary stress hormone in the brain and body, and normally when we increase dopamine levels with negative means like drugs, alcohol, nicotine, TikTok, etc., not only are dopamine levels elevated, but cortisol levels are elevated as well. Now, there have been many studies diving into why excess screen time is associated with elevated cortisol levels, and I won't go into that here, but the key about cold water immersion and dopamine is that dopamine levels increase 250 to 500% without elevating cortisol levels at all. all. This is because you're exposing your brain and body to eustress, not distress. Which, to make it simple, oh goodness. Which, to make it simple, distress is where the catecholamines in the brain, including cortisol, are released, resulting in negative health outcomes. And eustress just means where the catecholamines in the brain, dopamine, norepinephrine, are released without the release of any cortisol.
By the way, I'm really not this smart. I learned all this from the Mac Daddy. I need that for the next scene.
So when it comes to me not being a fat ass, when it comes to increased metabolism and converting white fat cells into beige and brown fat cells, here's what you need to know.
White fat cells are like a storage site. They're very low metabolic and they don't burn many calories unless it's a last resort. Beige and brown fat cells are much more highly metabolic and they act as a type of furnace that raises our metabolism and helps us burn many more calories. Deliberate cold exposure has been shown to convert white fat cells into beige and brown fat cells, which in my case helped me go from 224 pounds at the beginning of this challenge to 212 pounds at the end of the 30 days.
Still fat, just a lot less fat. Watch this fake out. Got his ass. When it comes to reduced inflammation post-exercise without getting all crazy scientific on you and turning into the Mac Daddy himself, yes, deliberate cold exposure will drastically decrease inflammation and promote recovery if you do it after your workout. But studies have also shown that deliberate cold exposure post-workout blunts and short circuits muscle hypertrophy and strength gains if done within 4 hours after a muscle hypertrophy or strength-focused training session. Basically, this means that if your main goals are building muscle or building strength, then you should do your deliberate cold exposure sometime before your workout so that you get all the benefits of increased dopamine levels, improved metabolism, etc., without blunting muscle hypertrophy and turning into a soft marshmallow ass like me. I do my ice baths immediately when I wake up because not only do I want to build muscle and strength, but I also like to torture myself immediately upon rising. No, seriously, if I don't do my ice baths immediately when I wake up, chances of me actually doing my ice bath go way down. Every day I have one goal, and that is to outsmart the soft ass version of myself. No, actually, that's very real. However, I do want to mention that if the goal of your workout is skill acquisition, endurance, really anything besides strength and hypertrophy, there is no negative benefit to doing cold water immersion after any of those types of workouts. There are only positive benefits on recovery, so if you have a basketball game, basketball practice, volleyball game, a skills workout, a conditioning workout, then an ice bath or cold shower after that training session could help aid in recovery without seeing any negative benefits on muscle strength and muscle hypertrophy. Well, because that workout, that skill session, that game, that practice wasn't focused on improving muscle strength or muscle hypertrophy. I didn't even know I had half this stuff. Oh God. And since increased recovery is so vague, I'll reference a study that concluded that cold water immersion performed after high intensity exercise was shown to have positive outcomes on muscular power, muscular soreness, perceived recovery after 24 hours, and a quicker turnaround on the ability to work out again. So if you train day after day after day, like most of us do, cold water immersion will bring only positive benefits. That is, unless your workout for that day is focused on muscle strength or muscle hypertrophy, in which case I would do your cold water immersion before your workout. Anyways, Kyra and I have been out here for hours recording this video, so we're gonna end it here. And in case you're wondering if I'm still doing the ice baths after the 30 days is up, the answer is yes, because the benefits are just too great to ignore. I don't really want to get into a bucket of suck for 3 minutes every single morning. However, like I said, the benefits are just too good to ignore. Kind of like the benefits of my training programs. Get my training programs and take your athleticism to the next level. I love you all, and we'll see you in the next video.